I want to start by saying that this is not my first attempt. While it is my first go at playing and surviving a hardcore Minecraft world, the first couple of attempts went south fairly quickly. Day 1. Oh great, a Mesa Desert biome spawn. Wonderful! I'm just kidding, this isn't a hardcore world. Okay, now for the actual Day 1, or technically Day 0. I didn't know that until recently, but there are actually 101 days in 100 days. This is a much better start, and would you look at that? I can already see the new biome. But I digress. Time to get to work. As with any first day, I punched the tree, collected wood, and made some tools. Grab exactly enough stone for 1 stone sword, 1 stone pickaxe, 1 stone axe, and 1 furnace. Kill some sheep for food and wool, kindly repurpose 1 more tree, and finally head out on a boat. Along the way I grab some sugar cane and begin to gently remove the meat of some still alive, happy, and breathing animals. As I run across the land kindly redistributing some willing participants, I spotted an abandoned village in the distance. Could be useful later, if the zombie villagers stay alive. That's highly unlikely considering it's daytime and the chunks are loaded. Out of food, I gently meandered to another nearby, this time alive, village. This village had a blacksmith, which allowed me to cook up some of my repurposed animal flesh, and the villagers were so kind they gave me 3 iron and 3 gold ingots from the donations chest. And finally, it's time for bed. These early days are pretty full of stuff, so bear with me. Now for the actual day number 1. It's time to head off. The last attempt I had that I stayed in a village ended with my body parts being forcefully relocated by a creeper. Not too far ahead, I spotted a pillager outpost, and considering their aim, or lack thereof, decided to go loot it. There's also another village not too far away, so I checked it out real quick. No blacksmith. What a waste. After a while of more running, I finally saw it. A beautiful piece of natural landscape, like a canvas waiting to be ruined by civilization. It was perfect, and now it was home. It's time to explore the grounds a bit, first by venturing into a nearby cave. I had hoped that it would be a long, dark shaft that could reach deep into the earth. But unfortunately, it was just a little surface cave. It did have some coal though, so that was nice. Time to start what is going to be an insufferably long process that I will continue in without diverting from because I am stubborn and want to do things my way. For you, this will be mere minutes. For me, this was hours of my life. Wasted. Anyway, my pickaxe broke, and as I reached the surface, I noticed something very stark missing from my lands. Whoa. And after walling off my land to all pesky outsiders, it was time for bed. Day 3, and it's time to mine. The goal was reaching Y-59 to mine for diamonds to get a Fortune 3 diamond pickaxe as soon as possible. On the way down, I found a zombie spawner. This was also a mistake and will lead to some of the most boring content in this video. But don't worry, you won't have to experience it for hours like I did. There was also this pretty cool cave around 20 blocks below it. I think you can see where this is going. Found my first iron ore, which meant now I could make an iron pickaxe and hopefully grab some diamonds while I was down here. I ran out of torches, so it's time to head up and smelt this iron. Gonna need it in case I run into them diamonds. Seeing as it's getting dark, I figured I would just stay up and wait for my iron to smelt before falling asleep. I also managed to piss off an enderman, so I had to quickly build this roof. I finished off the enderman, tore down the makeshift roof, and got back to work exploring more of my territory. Nothing too interesting, just some surface level caves with a little coal. Deep slate, my favorite. It means we're getting closer to diamond, but it also means now mining is even more painfully slow. I had to go to the surface for more pickaxes and slept while I was up there. Day 5, and shortly after waking up, I got into an intense battle with an armored skeleton. Defeated this powerful foe, and returned to mining. I also brought some stairs with me to make the trip up and down more smooth.
Did you hear that? Because I certainly did. Please get me out of here.
Needless to say, I turned tail and ran back up the staircase, and after I had gotten a clean pair of underwear, continued down in the opposite direction. A little while later, I reached my target depth and began strip mining in hopes of finding diamonds. I found none. In fact, I barely found any ore at all while I was there. I returned to the surface the morning of day 7 with my massive haul of, well, basically nothing. I took a small break and just happened to check if there was a new method of finding diamonds that I didn't know about because at this point I was losing my mind. I started to doubt my own eyes, thinking maybe I was just missing the ores. Like, I know I need glasses and all, but I didn't think it was this bad. After a while, I got wise to the idea of using a trapdoor to go into crawl mode and only having to mine 1 block tunnel instead of a 2 block tunnel. 9 diamonds. Needless to say, I was relieved to have finally found some. As I was doing chores around the house, I was visited by these rather rude guests and proceeded to immediately show them out. I also decided to stay up and work on my wall. This proved to be a very, very stupid idea. After the phantoms had died, I got back to work on my wall. I also wanted to clear my land up so I could begin farming. I think it looks much better now that everything is flattened out, and the garden adds a nice touch. I decided to finish planting crops today, that way while I was out mining, all the crops would be growing. Once I finished, I began to make an egg farm. The idea being to make an automatic chicken farm, and never have to worry about food. This never came to fruition, and you'll see why later on, but it was an enthusiastic plan nonetheless. Now you may have noticed that for a moment there, the distinct lack of audio from the rain. This is because I despise that sound. Like I cannot play and listen to it. My brain will melt. But because I think you're special, I went through the painstaking and laborious task of adding it in post. You'll believe me? Stick around to the end. You're welcome. I also decided today would be a good day to kill more cows. And while I was killing cows, I found this massive, wet, gaping ravine. Not too far from my home. I couldn't know for sure yet, but based on where this cave entrance was, I could only assume that it eventually led to the deep dark I had found earlier. I woke up bright and early day 11 because it was long overdue my humble abode got a roof. It took nearly half the day and doesn't look great, but I'm happy with it and that's all that matters. Oh, and I also trapped a chicken to begin getting eggs for my egg chicken food feather farm. That never really ended up happening. I also decided to get to the task of organization early on in this world. Okay, well, sort of. Cut me some slack. On day 12, I woke up and was immediately reminded why I needed a shield on me at all times. So instead of crafting a shield, I went to work on making a cosmetic bridge in the mine. Went downstairs to mine, returned back to the zombie spawner, and thought, this looks like the perfect height for a mob farm. Then left it to go mine for diamonds. After a day of pointless mining, I decided to resurface, make some stairs for the mine, and tend to the garden. Day 14, and I got to work clearing out the mob spawner cave. Once I was comfortable a creeper couldn't come up behind me and do unholy things, I made quick work of the spawner funnel. Then quickly realized I made the funnel off-center, and that fitting a bunch of zombies down a 1x1 shaft would be difficult. So I rebuilt it as a 1x3 and was content with my work. Hey, wow, look at that! I finally made a new shield, and I can't instantly die to 3 common mobs now. I went over to harvest my crops.
My disappointment is immeasurable, and my day is ruined.
As I knew enchanting was getting closer and closer, I decided now would be a good time to start breeding cows for leather. This would also supply me with a good source of food while I waited to build the chicken farm. I spent the night downstairs finishing up the mob farm. Nothing exciting, just me being dumb. Can you guess what I did today? That's right, I made an underground enchanting room. I also decided today would be a good day to begin desecrating Mother Nature. Day 17, and I spent the whole day destroying what Mother Nature took years to create. The night of day 17 and into day 18 I spent down in the caves mining, because I needed to up my resource collection, especially the iron side of it. I was also down here because I needed obsidian for my enchanting table. Unfortunately, I could only find 3 lava sources, but fortunately, once back on the surface, I was able to spot a nearby lava pit. Time to go grab that lava. If I could find it. Oh, there it is. I made sure to mark it with the classic nerd pole. And since we're out here, now would be a good time to remove the leather off some peaceful animals. Also, these cows weren't dropping me any leather, and then out of nowhere, this cow, in particular, drops 3. I don't even have looting. Do you know how rare that is? Yeah, well, me either. And of course it decided to rain and all the baddies were spawning, so it was time to head home. Mob farm. More mob farm. Wait, is that sunlight? Yeah, so apparently I got all the levels I needed, but unfortunately I still needed more leather for my bookshelves. You know what this means.
Enemy spotted.
Now, I need leather. So why am I killing pigs and sheep, you might ask yourself? Simple. The passive mob cap. The short and simple version, as far as I understand it, is kill mobs that you don't want around so mobs that you do want around can spawn. I slept in the village last night, and I must have slept on my neck wrong because I could tell something was wrong when I woke up. In all seriousness though, something was wrong with my computer today. I normally run between 3 and 500 FPS without shaders, and today I was struggling to hit 40. My settings were all fine and my computer seemed normal, but the game was an absolute frame fest. So I spent most of the day running around to see if my FPS would fix naturally, and then upon realizing that it wouldn't, I went home and made some bookshelves before logging off to fix my computer. Alright, we're back now, and the FPS issue is seemingly fixed, so hopefully we can get through the rest of this video without a hitch. Today was full of crop stuff, animal stuff, and enchanting stuff. Oh, and some murdering stuff. I knew that it wasn't smart to be out here at night, but then no one has ever put my name and smart in the same sentence without isn't, so who cares? I had a decision to make on day 24. I enchanted my diamond pickaxe and came back with efficiency 4 and unbreaking 3. I could either disenchant it and risk not getting either with the fortune enchant, or I could use 3 of my 4 remaining diamonds to try and get another pickaxe with fortune. Lucky for me, I had plenty of time to decide. I decided to go with the second pickaxe. Even though this denied me making a diamond sword for a while, it meant I could use my diamond pickaxe more liberally. I finally got the Fortune 3 enchant to show up, and it's back to the tunnel where I'll end up sitting for like half the video. That's just a joke. You'll only get to see glimpses of it, but it was rough. It was a good thing I decided to make 2 pickaxes, because I got fortune and only fortune on my second enchant. But now I had another problem. I needed an anvil to combine the pickaxes. Anvils cost 31 ingots, and I do not have 31 iron ingots. So naturally I went down to strip mine where iron is the least likely of all the ores, besides coal, to spawn.
Sometimes my genius is... it's almost frightening.
Oh, would you looky there? 1 iron. Yep, still down here. No iron to be seen. Got some diamonds, and that was cool, but you're down here for iron. You need iron to make an anvil, not diamonds. Oh, yippee, more diamonds. But it's still not iron, you dunce. Oh, thank goodness I'm finally crawling out of this hellhole. And as if mining a straight line wasn't monotonous enough, I decided today would be a great time to go gather wood in bulk. Day 29, and it's time to make good use of the nearby villages by turning them all into librarians with specific trades I want by trapping them in cages and forcing them into professions only to rip it away if I deem their goods unworthy. Then repeat this process possibly hundreds of times until I am satisfied by the item and price. Anyway, the villagers just love their cozy home so much they never chose to leave, that's all. Yeah, that's right, I've got you now. Yesterday I managed to get an Aqua Affinity trade for only 6 emeralds, and today I was focused on getting mending. To do this I was going to need emeralds, and this is where all those trees come in handy. 3 make wood, wood make stick, stick give villager, villager give emerald. I'd got enough levels to enchant again, so once I got home I went to enchant my sword and...
Oh my god, what is that?
I returned to the village just as night fell. Armed with more sticks, my only goal was to trade until I was rich. Unfortunately, that was going to have to wait because I made the fatal mistake of killing a rogue villager in front of my Fletcher. He threw a temper tantrum and raised his prices through the roof. We aren't on speaking terms. I worked with another villager on getting either mending or protection as a trade. This endeavor took literally 2 days. I had easily the worst luck I've ever had trying to get some decent villager trades. I managed to get a cheap silk touch, but that was about it. On to the next subject, I guess. Another day passes, and we finally get a somewhat cheap mending book trade. Nice! I'm still looking for iron, and still finding mere scraps of it. Back home, I took care of the crops and animals before heading to bed. Day 35, and I combined the pickaxes, adding mending to both my pickaxe and my sword. And we're back to gathering wood, huh? I guess it's just another day chopping trees. I got back to the village just in time for bed. More sticks in hand, it's time to see if our friend has lowered his prices any. And what do you know? He did! Time to make a fortune. I was getting so greedy, in fact, that I decided to add another Fletcher to my village's arsenal. Double the profits, baby. Day 37, and it's back to work. I absolutely need to get a protection trade today, and I am not settling for anything but oh, well. I guess that other guy's useless now. I'll just refresh myself with some profits. Time to find a new village. This one's been tapped of all of its human resources. I don't know if this is technically the same village or not, but it'll do. Since I was at a new village, I was more lenient with the trades today, and managed to pick up a Looting 3 book for 11 emeralds. went home to add it to my sword, and did some general maintenance on the property. I needed more emeralds to satisfy a deep-rooted urge for wealth, so I spent yet another day smacking trees. However, the trees tried to smack back.
You fucking serious?
I was unfazed and continued to slaughter its brethren whilst it stood there, helpless. Today I entered a new market in hopes of making even more profit. However, Mother Nature looked down upon me and the atrocities I had committed, and wept. Slept that off. Screw her. But it did give me the unique opportunity to capture a skeleton horse. That is, if I could keep from killing them all. I don't know what it is about them. I just think they're neat. I used the rest of the day to further my new business venture of shearing sheep for their wool. However, I quickly realized that without the proper infrastructure, this method would be rather pointless. Day 42, and I spent the entire day trading. My first Fletcher decided he would try scalping me on stick prices. My second Fletcher, however, decided to give me a small discount for my patronage. Back in the other village, and some questionable things were happening, including the villagers refusing to give me a protection enchant. I took an unbreaking enchant from this guy, but was still on a quest for protection 4. It was with this villager that I finally got a protection enchant. Yes, it is a terrible price, however I was not going to risk another 4 hours of re-rolling trades to try for a better price. I spent the rest of the day upgrading my storage and combining as many of the enchanted books together as I could. Today was the day I finally prioritized my iron stash. My anvil had broke and I didn't even have enough iron to replace it, so today I was determined to change that. While I was out, I decided to restock my food supply with the help of the locals, and to round off the day I began work on an expansion project. Today I was visited by some traveling salesmen. When I told them I wasn't interested, they got quite hostile, so I went about problem solving until we all agreed on a solution. This encounter further fueled my desire to expand my territory, and by consequence my wall. As I was clearing out my inventory, it occurred to me why the pillager was able to do so much damage through my shield. Wall expansion mostly complete, so I'll take care of my crops and head to farm EXP. More mining, day 47. Now I was on a mission for full diamond armor. I had the enchants and just needed the armor to put it on. This continued on for a while, unsuccessfully at first, but I was able to leave with 23 diamonds, more than I needed. At least until I pulled a silly one on myself. Today, equipped in full diamond armor, I decided to test my theory about the massive cave entrance near my base. While I was down here, I found some diamonds, which is what I was searching for. Because of that little mishap yesterday, I wasn't able to make the diamond tools I wanted. Shortly after, my suspicions were confirmed that this cave did in fact lead to the Deep Dark. However, my question is still, whose idea was it to add this into Minecraft? Like, who honestly sat down and said, why yes, I would quite fancy a little nightmare fuel with my children's game, I tried going down this part of the cave, but hearing that noise sent a hardwired survival instinct signal directly to my central nervous system, and my only thought was building out. As I was searching for parts of this cave that weren't deep dark, I found a mob spawner. I would never use it, but it was a cool find. And then I found this.
What the hell?
This has got to be the largest cave I have ever found in Minecraft, and what I didn't know is I could have used the water to escape the cave. Even as far as I had gone, I still couldn't escape the deep dark, and at this point I just gave up.
Shitting me.
Back to chopping trees. I used the night to finish working on the walled off parts of my land. They look nice. I'm happy. More trees. I really don't know what to say anymore. Back to the village day 53 for more profits and some books. I was starting to get ripped off by both of my Fletchers, but there wasn't much I could do. I needed books, which meant I needed emeralds. Did you know, in 1863, Alabama was the first state in the United States of America to declare Christmas a legal holiday? And that Christmas wasn't declared an official holiday in the United States until June 26, 1870. I killed him. Did you know that no country in the southern hemisphere has ever hosted a Winter Olympics? And that 3 continents, Africa, South America, and Antarctica, have never hosted an Olympics? Day 56, and I was once again visited by these rude door-to-door salesmen, but this time I knew exactly how to handle the situation. Failed to get a trident today. I am sad. Today I finally went to the first village I found, and spent some time there. Did you know an empty space shuttle weighs approximately 165,000 pounds? I ran home today. Wanted to get to work on getting my enchants together. Unlike my life. I will now proceed to spend hours sitting here on this exact stair waiting for zombies to spawn because I was too lazy to fix my design flaws. I added a grindstone and a chest to the killing chamber on day 60. That way I can disenchant all the armor drops and have a place to store almost all of the other drops. Did you know the oldest operating amusement park is located in north of Copenhagen, Denmark? The amusement park opened in 1583 and today claims to have over 150 attractions, including a wooden roller coaster built in the 1930s. Did you know that Switzerland consumes more chocolate per capita than any other country in the world? Did you know the shortest term ever served by a U.S. president was served in 1841 by President William Henry Harrison due to him dying after just 1 month in office on April 4th, 1841? Did you know that a giraffe has the same number of vertebrae in its neck as you do? Alright, I'm tired of this. Moving on. If 200 days happens, I'm gonna limit my use of AFK farms severely. Finally geared up, and it's time to prepare for the Nether. Also, if you haven't picked up by this point, I can't make an automatic chicken farm without quartz, and since 2/3 of the days are gone, there's no point for a starter farm now. Headed to my local lava pit at sunset for some obsidian, and then I was ready for the Nether. I mean, at least I was physically prepared. Mentally, I was shitting bricks. One wrong move, dead. And with that in the back of my mind, the search began for another fortress. I managed to find one relatively quickly, and now all I needed to do was find a blaze spawner. After a rather long search, I managed to find said blaze spawner, and went to work collecting as many blaze rods as I could. In hindsight, I realized just how much I overdid it, but who cares? Just means I'll be able to brew as many potions as I want later on. I got a tad lost, so I made a second nether portal, only to find out that it linked with my overworld portal. I went back through to see if I could locate my second portal from the first one, but was unsuccessful. What I needed were endermen. Up to this point, I'd only killed one, and it didn't drop a pearl, so I would need to use the warp forest to get the ender pearls. I spent day 69 making my way to the stronghold. I know, I should have done something special to commemorate the day. But I forgot. Found the stronghold and had some insane luck finding the portal room. Built another portal and went to find one of my other 2 portals for easy travel between my home and the portal. I got the Return to Sender achievement today because I felt like it, and I also linked up my first and second portals, which made nether travel even easier. Today I decided to relax, take a breather, and work on things around my property, like hatching the now full chicken egg chest into the chicken egg farm. I've been asked before why I don't just hold down the mouse button when throwing eggs, and I was going to use this as a perfect demonstration as to why, but I guess it doesn't matter after all. I was starting to get serious about doing things around the house. I began yesterday and finished today working on upgrading my wall once again. It's starting to fill out, but I still feel there needs to be more. I spent today sprucing up the small cave just below my property. I plan on using the natural terrain as part of my base because I'd never done that style of building before. Killed another trident drowned while out planning. Still no trident. It was at this point I made the discovery that the cove I was planning to build in just below my house actually led to this massive cave I found earlier on. The idea originally was to make something like a smuggler's cove, however with the knowledge I had now, the plan shifted more dwarven. But that's a little bit beyond the scope of 100 days. Back to work on a smaller project. I want to make this cave nice while still seeming mostly natural. Like I want to build around nature, not have nature around the build. I sat here fiddling with the placement of this chain anchor for several minutes, and I'm still not quite sure I'm happy with it. A few touches left to add, and now I'm pretty satisfied. It's not too much, but still enough to give off the idea that people live around here.
We're going to build a wall!
As I began clearing land for this new wall, I wanted to make it grander than the previous walls. A wall to end all walls, and the more ground I cleared, the more excited I became to build. A full day of terraforming later, and we're almost ready to begin construction. Okay, I lied. There was a lot more land to move, but now we're ready to begin construction of the... I wasn't sure exactly what the theme of this wall was, but it looked somewhat cool in my head, so I just went with it. I had more traveling salesmen show up near my property line, which gave me a sense of urgency to finish this wall fast. But I had an enderman try to sabotage my sleep to prevent me from working. I decided that instead of trying to flatten this large hill out, I would instead have my wall connect to the cliff face and build a separate wall on top to prevent unwanted guests from entering. The process was slow, but by day 82, the south and east walls were complete, while the foundation for the north and west walls had been laid out. By the end of the day, all 4 walls were functionally complete. I still needed to add a gate, but I'd tackle that problem tomorrow. I also took the time to slaughter all of my animals. They were too loud and I couldn't be bothered moving them. I did some decorating of the wall on day 83. I think it looks nice and adds an extra layer of detail and more visual depth. Also costs a boatload of iron. I tried to make the chains work with the diagonal bits, but I couldn't get anything to work. If you've made it this far, leave a comment down below and tell me what you think of the wall and what you would do about this diagonal section. Day 84 and the wall was done, and a hole for the gate was made, but I wanted to spruce it up by making my gate redstone powered. It took me 2 days to figure out how to hide the redstone without making the gate too chunky. I also forgot that I would need to put a button on the inside of the door, so that set me back some time as well. All things said and done, I think it's unique, and that works for me. At night, I went about placing lanterns on top of my wall to light the place up, and when I was out of lanterns, it was off to bed. I needed some more iron to finish off the lighting of my walls, so I took a short trip to the nearby mountain to look for some surface caves. Back home with nearly a stack of iron, and I was confident this would be enough to last me the rest of these 100 days. I took down all 3 interior walls to open up my land a little more, but this turned around and bit me in the butt later on. As I was taking the walls down, I accidentally broke into my skeleton horse's chamber, and felt now would be a good time to build him a more permanent home. Except I had already had plans to build over in this corner, so the stables were put on the back burner for now. I'll give it to him, they are persistent. I was planning to make this a forging and masonry area, fully equipped with a blast furnace, smithing table, and stone cutter. I had a decent idea of what was going on in this area, but it would go through more renovations as the days went by. I got sidetracked by the new armor trims feature and spent half the day trying out different combinations. I added this interesting looking log cutting area to incorporate the stone cutter into this design. I based it loosely off the one found in Riverwood in Skyrim. To tie the woodcutter with the rest of the blacksmithing area, I also began working on a kiln. By the end of day 91, the kiln was finished and this area was starting to come together. On day 92, I began working on the stable. It was finally time to give my skeleton horse a proper home. This process continued well into day 94 and was rudely interrupted by a band of vagrant salesmen. This is also where tearing down those walls started to come back to haunt me because I had forgotten to relight the area. I heard about this name a long time ago and had been holding on and waiting for the right time to use it. And what better a time than on this brilliant, unique, thoroughbred, absolute winner of a stallion. It's getting to be that time. I made my final preparations, packed all the things I thought I would need, and headed off to return to the stronghold. I'm not sure why, but I was set on the idea of waiting until day 97 to begin my fight with the Ender Dragon, so I spent the whole day waiting for night to come. It was time. For a moment, everything I had done flashed before my eyes until I was jerked back up to my platform. Exactly what I'd feared, a spawn above the void. I quickly placed water and began bridging to the main island. I got lucky, and both caged crystals were next to each other on low towers. The dragon flew in for an attack, but it was nearly pointless. I used extreme precision, only missing 2 shots for all the remaining crystals. As I began the melee phase of her attacks, I couldn't stay close long enough to do any real damage, so it was back to archery to deal a significant chunk of my damage. Perched once again, I got beneath her, and the worst thing imaginable happened. Was this it? Everything I worked so hard to accomplish ended here? Was this my last breath? No. Despite the close call, I was determined now to defeat this dragon. All of my fears melted away to confidence. I took one final shot and she was dead. I took a moment to retrieve her egg and said goodbye to this place. Back home, I spent half of today with minor design changes at the stable, and the other half beginning to flatten a nearby hilltop. Since there was very little time left, I used the nighttime to travel through the Nether and back to the stronghold. I really wanted more armor trims, so I was going to fully explore the stronghold for chest. Finally here, and I got the urge to take as many bookcases with me as I could. I'm not even sure why anymore, but I'm sure I can find a good use for them. This stronghold seemed very small. About half of the passageways led to Deep Slate instead of branching off. While I was exploring, I found this absolute behemoth of a book.
Wow.
I planned to keep as a trophy. Unfortunately, once I'd finished searching all the stronghold chests, I only came out with 3 armor trim blueprints.
Uh-oh.
Ah, yes. The consequences of my actions. Remember that angry Enderman sound from when I jumped into the portal earlier? Yeah, he was still angry when I came back. I spent the rest of the day continuing to clear off this mountaintop. I knew I wouldn't have time for it in this 100 days, but I wanted to build a house here someday. In my attempt to stay up all night and watch the sunrise of day 100, it began to rain. Hoping that maybe it would subside before sunrise, I stayed up and continued working on the hilltop. This was a mistake. While I was waiting, I decided to get the Sniper Duel achievement the proper way to flex my epic... I decided to get the Sniper Duel achievement the proper way to flex my... to flex my... to flex my superior marksmanship skills. You see, the problem with not sleeping the rain away in hopes that it would disappear naturally also meant that I was running the risk of not seeing a proper sunset either. So I set up a clock and began to wait. And wait. And wait. The rain wasn't going anywhere, but it didn't mean I couldn't at least see the sky darken one last time.